Zimbabwe President Robert Mugabe has struck a deal with the country's military for his wife Grace to leave the country and obtain safe haven, possibly in neighboring South Africa, in return for him giving up power, the South African-based African news agency reported. The 93-year-old ruler is expected to hold a media conference on Thursday, Zimbabwe time, to announce his departure. Mugabe has negotiated for Grace to leave the country while he prepares to step down, the source said. Press conference tomorrow afternoon. Soldiers indeed have the president and his presidential guard under siege. Zimbabweans are urged to stay away from the CBD tomorrow, the source said. Regional leaders are negotiating with Mugabe and senior generals in Zimbabwe to ensure a bloodless transition of power. The chairman of the African Union Commission has told reporters in Washington that Zimbabwe President Robert Mugabe and his wife are safe in the country, reports AP. Moussa Faki Mauma says a delegation from the 15-nation Southern African Development Community is already in Zimbabwe's capital, Harare, as authorities seek to meet with Mugabe and the army. The United Nations says Secretary-General Antonio Guterres is appealing for calm, non-violence and restraint in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe's military is in control of the capital and the state broadcaster and holding Mugabe and his wife under house arrest in what appeared to be a coup against the veteran ruler, the world's oldest head of state. The military was at pains, however, to emphasize it had not staged a military takeover, but was instead starting a process to restore Zimbabwe's democracy. Still, the military appeared to have brought an end to Mugabe's long, 37-year reign in what the army's supporters praised as a bloodless correction. South Africa and other Iberig countries were sending in leaders to negotiate with Mugabe and the generals to encourage the transition. South Africa's president says he hopes Zimbabwe's military will respect the constitution so the situation will not go beyond the situation where it is now. President Jacob Zuma addressed the nation on television not long after speaking with Mugabe. Zuma said Mugabe is fine but confined to his home after the army appeared to take control. Zuma says he hopes the situation in the neighboring country is going to be controlled. His office has said he is sending his defense and security ministers to meet with Mugabe and Zimbabwe's army. Citizens in Zimbabwe's tidy capital, Harare, contributed to the feeling of a smooth transition by carrying on with their daily lives, walking past the army's armored personnel carriers to go to work and to shops. Many who have never known any leader but Mugabe waited in long lines at banks to draw limited amounts of cash, a result of this once prosperous country's plummeting economy. Felix Tshisekedi, who sells mobile airtime vouchers in Harare, said he was following the developments on WhatsApp. But I am still in the dark about what is happening, he said. So far so good.